present my screen. I will, by the way, a couple things. Sorry, really quickly. I will be calling on you to make sure you're paying attention, because what I don't want you to do is check out. And if I ask you to talk about a pathology that you've already done, I'm going to give you a grade on that to make sure you were prepared for that. That's all. That's the real thing. Because again, I don't want you to check out. That's the only purpose. I want you here with us so we can review, right? And it's fine if your camera's off, but I think you probably noticed I'm more likely to call on you then. Okay, so hopefully you can all see the systems of the body review. Cool. And it's all the systems we did. We did the integumentary system, and the skeletal system, and the muscular system, and the nervous system, the endocrine system, the cardiovascular system, lymphatic system, respiratory system, digestive system. It's a lot of systems. And they all make a body. Yeah? And we haven't even covered all of them, actually. So let's go through them kind of in this order. And the first one we'll take a look at is the integumentary system. Now, one of you actually did an overview on the integumentary system. So before I break it down, I just want that person to give us an overview. And it's Miss Bolotic. You, at one point, did kind of an overview on the integumentary system. Can you tell us what it is, what it does for us? You know, some basics about the integumentary system.
So I kept it pretty simple, like really simple, because didn't you say it to like make sure that like a third grader could understand it?
I do want a third grader to understand it, yes. I want to know that you understand it.
Okay.
Yeah,
well,
the reason, by the way, I did that.
A lot to it, so I tried to like keep it really simple. I don't know.
Well, don't apologize yet. Let's hear what you got. I did ask for that.
So I said, the integumentary system consists of hair, skin, and nails. This system protects our inside organs we have from the sun and the outside world. It regulates our body temperature by our hair to keep us warm, from the cold, or our body can sweat so we don't get too hot. Our hair also works as little sensors so we can feel the world around us. Summed up, we are a sausage, and the integumentary system is the casing that holds the sausage all together. Hopefully that makes sense. I don't know.
Actually, that was fantastic, Miss Bolotic. So, okay. I love that. So the integumentary system is hair, skin. Oh, go ahead. Sorry. What?
Sorry, I just didn't want to go over the layers, just because I thought that part is confusing. So. No,
but will you do me a favor? Will you tell us what the three layers are? The three main layers.
The dermis, the epidermis, and the hypodermis.
Cool. So epidermis, dermis, hypodermis. Yeah.
Sorry, what did you say?
So epidermis, dermis, hypodermis.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't put it in order. But...
That's okay. That was good. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I asked you guys to put it in terms that a third grader can understand, or I always say a 5-year-old, which is not a third grader, for two reasons. One is, I feel that if you just read it from the book, you don't understand it, and that worries me. I also feel like if you can't explain it to a child, you don't really understand it, so that's kind of why I do that. Okay, let's go through the integumentary system really quickly, yeah? Thank you, Ms. Bolotic. As Ms. Bolotic said, the integumentary system is made up of skin, hair, nails. They throw in the skin glands because they're found in the skin. I don't care if you include that or not, but that's one of the things in there. So, Miss Nguyen, what makes up the integumentary system?
Sorry, you can add again.
What makes up the integumentary system? What is it made up of?
I think it's the nail, skin, hair.
I think you're right. Nail, skin, and hair. Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. And what it does for us, as Miss Bolotic told us, is it's protection from the outside world. Miss Cooper, you're right. We're big sausages, just with intelligence. It gives us immunity, meaning it keeps out viruses in general. When viruses get in your body, they don't usually come through your skin. They usually come through your mouth. Absorption, yes, it can absorb some things, but our sensation is there. Remember, our nervous system has little end packets, end tips in all of our skin, which is how you guys are able to massage people and feel their bodies through your hands. It helps with thermoregulation, which is temperature regulation. It does that by sweating to release heat. It also has some fat in it to help insulate you. And it is true that your hair also helps insulate you. Excretion. When you sweat, you actually do sweat out some of the stuff your body wants to get rid of, not just water. And it creates vitamin D with the help of the sun. Yes? Miss Hunter, what does the integumentary system do for you?
Hello. It protects you from the sun. Not from the sun, but well, yeah, actually, doesn't it? Hair, skin, and nails.
Yeah. So it protects you. What else does it do?
It does vitamin D. I'm looking at your slide.
Yeah. By the way, Miss Hunter, I'm expecting you to. Basically,
Oh, okay.
I'm reading the slide. I'm calling on one of you to make sure you heard me read the slide. And I'm having you read the slide back again. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
So protection, vitamin D with the sun.
Immunity. Do you want me to just read all of them, or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's absorption,
Yeah.
sensation, and temperature regulation.
Yeah. What do you call temperature regulation?
Thermogulation.
Thermoregulation. Yes.
Thermoregulation, okay.
How does it, Miss Hunter, how does it help me thermoregulate?
By sweating?
Yeah, I'll take that one.
Yeah.
And the sensation, what's this sensation? Like what does it help me with sensation?
Sensation, well, I guess there's sensors in your skin.
Yes.
Yeah.
So at this point, the sensation point, what other system of the body is overlapping with this to give me sensation?
What other systems overlapping?
Yeah.
The nervous system?
Thank you. That's exactly what I was looking for. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Sure.
Cool. We've got the layers of the skin, right? Notice, everybody, by the way, the epidermis, even though the epidermis, we haven't talked about a lot, but the epidermis has 5 little layers. We don't talk about those. But the epidermis is actually fairly small. The dermis is the really thick part, and the hypodermis is very small. The hypodermis also had 2 other names for it: superficial fascia and subcutaneous. Yeah? Mr. Kandaris, you must have read my mind. What are the 3 layers of the skin, sir?
Epidermis, dermis, and hypodermis.
Cool. And what are the 2 other names for hypodermis, sir?
I know it.
I know you know it. One is under the dermis, just like a train that runs under the ground.
Yeah, I don't remember the other name.
Subcutaneous
Subcutaneous
and superficial fascia.
and superficial fascia.
Thank you, sir. By the way, everybody, notice that all the hair shafts on here have oil glands next to them, sebaceous oil glands. That is oil that your skin produces, and it comes up a hair follicle to keep your skin healthy and lubricated and waterproof and such. Okay. So, Ms. Cooper, what are the 3 layers of the skin, the 3 main layers of the skin?
Hi, the epidermis, the dermis, and the hypodermis.
Hypodermis, what are the 2 other names for the hypodermis?
The subdermis.
How about subcutaneous in the slide here? And what's the other name?
Superficial fascia.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you. We talked very briefly about some skin coloration things that can happen. I'm only bringing these up again because you might get a client with them. So you get albinoism, which is somebody with no melanin in their skin, so they have no pigment. They look really, really whiter than me. I used to have a friend actually that had this and could not be out in the sun at all. At all. Vitiligo, which is a partial loss of pigmentation. So people get these splotchy areas where there's no pigmentation on their body. There's nothing wrong with it. It just looks unusual if you haven't seen it. Yes. And then there is such a thing as hyperpigmentation. What does hyper mean? Ms. Giannis, what does hyper mean?
I don't know. Doesn't it mean like more?
Yes, thank you. Yes, I'm a bit hyper, I'm a bit more. It means above. It's like hypertension is high, more blood pressure. Hypo is below. So anyway, hyperpigmentation means a lot of pigmentation. And we see that sometimes like in pregnancy due to some of the hormones in the body. You'll get this, it's called the linea nigra, and it's this line of hyperpigmentation from the tissue being stretched here in the tummy and the hormones affecting that tissue and such. Just a little overview stuff. You will sometimes see people with yellow skin. Yellow skin can be a sign of a couple things. One is it can be a sign of poor liver function. So when people have hepatitis, which affects the liver, they will sometimes get jaundice, which means yellow. Jaundice means yellow. And it can be a sign of poor liver function. It can also be a sign that they're consuming a lot of keratin. There used to be a craze back there where people would tan and they would also eat keratin. So their tanning would give them kind of a brown thing. The keratin gives them kind of a yellow thing, but it darkens their tan. And that's literally from eating keratin. Eating lots of carrots in a condensed form can actually give them that color. It'll actually come out in their skin. But jaundice means yellow. You'll often hear that term. Miss Harper, what does jaundice mean?
It means yellow skin.
Thank you, ma'am. That's exactly what it means. All right. Hyperemia is something that we'll all hear about a lot. It is red skin from vasodilation and increased blood flow. Vaso means like blood vessels. Dilation means they have gotten bigger and more blood is going through. That's called vasodilation. Hyperemia in general in massage is a good thing. You guys have all seen it when you rub somebody's back and it got red. That was hyperemia. And it was caused because you got lots of blood to the area. Vasodilation. So you'll, by the way, you guys vasodilate when you get embarrassed too. That's why you get a flush of red in your face as you vasodilate and all this blood comes to your face and you're like, oh, and then you get more embarrassed when you realize that's happened and more blood rushes to your face. Anyway, that's vasodilation, but hyperemia is generally a good thing and you'll hear people talk about it in massage all the time because our job is to increase blood circulation and that's hyperemia basically, and blood is life. Yes, Miss Monreal.
Is there another term? I know that arrhythmia means something else, but is that a reference to bringing blood to the surface?
Arrhythmia? No.
Like I've heard some estheticians say it.
Oh, well, Miss Torres?
More than...
Miss Torres, is there another term for... Are you talking about when people have a lot of redness in their skin?
No, like you actually manually bringing blood flow to the skin.
Miss Torres, is there a term for manually bringing blood flow to the skin, like creating hyperemia, besides the term hyperemia?
Anyway, okay.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I only know that I always say the other word you said it
Vasodilation?
with your heart. It has to do your heart. Like,
Oh, yes. No, I agree with that.
Blood.
Yeah.
Fast. What?
Okay.
By the way, Miss Monreal, you're probably right. And I'll kind of chew on it in one, hours from now. I'll be like, and I'll call you.
Okay. All right.
So, Miss Petrie, what is hyperemia?
Red skin.
Yes, it is red skin, but it's,
Increased blood flow, I should say. I'm sorry.
that's okay. Good. Red skin from increased blood flow. Thank you very much. Cyanosis. Cyan, blue, cyanosis is blue or purple tinted skin, generally a very bad sign. It's a sign you're not getting oxygen to your body and that you are in big trouble. So when somebody starts turning blue, you should be freaking out and calling 911. Miss Hanson, what's cyanosis?
Blue or purple tinted skin.
Cool. And is it something to be concerned about?
Yes.
Cool.
Because it can mean that you're getting low oxygen levels in your blood.
Yes. Yes. And it's kind of the opposite of hyperemia, everybody. Hyperemia is the opposite of ischemia, which is decreased blood flow, ischemia. When you grab somebody's arm like this in a way, you're creating temporary ischemia. When you let go of it, the blood rushes back in, creating hyperemia. You're kind of creating a pumping action. But ischemia often will create pale skin because it's decreased blood flow and such. Got it? So hyperemia, lots of blood flow. Ischemia, low blood flow. You're going to hear those terms in massage therapy a lot. Yeah? Cool. So, Miss Stanley, lots of blood flow is called what?
Hyperemia?
Thank you. And decreased blood flow is called what?
Ischemia?
Ischemia. That was great. Actually, you said it perfectly. Hey, I didn't mention this, Miss Stanley, so I'm kind of putting you on the spot, and I apologize for that. But do you remember what we call when something gets a lot of blood or doesn't get a lot of blood? Like it doesn't get a lot of blood, we say it's
Avascular?
Thank you. Or vascular. So avascular or vascular. So hyperemia, highly vascular. Ischemia, avascular. I'm just kind of putting different terms together the way people might use them. Cool. Thank you. Well done. Really well done. We have major glands in our skin. Sebaceous are your oil glands. Sebaceous glands create sebum, which is oil. Period. Sebum is your body's natural oil. In fact, you'll hear some massage. What? Who?
Mr. Pascott?
Yeah.
I think Miss Beatrice had a question for a while.
Oh, she does. Miss Petrie, I'm sorry that your hand up on the computer and your hand up in real life was not enough to get my attention, but Miss Giannis has brought it to my attention that you might have a question.
Thank you, John. I appreciate it. Was the word that you were looking for, Martha? Was it urethema? Urethema? Was that what?
That.
Wow!
Urethema.
Wow, way to go, Miss Petrie!
Oh no, I looked it up. Don't
But
don't give me too much credit here. I don't deserve it. Thank you.
You should-
Google.
you should take the credit. I look stuff up all the time.
Yeah, was that the word you were looking for, though?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
I don't know how to say it correctly.
Oh, go ahead.
I don't know how to say it correctly. I think it's urethema. Urethema.
How do you spell it?
We'll figure it out. I'm gonna call my esthetician friends and say, hey, what is that term you guys use?
Erythema.
It
means red and green.
Arrhythmia is something with the heart, right?
Yeah, that's an arrhythmia, and that's an irregular heartbeat.
Yes.
Okay, it
But I
says
knew it was
it's
a word
redness
like that.
of the skin.
Yeah,
Perfect, thank you.
It
Erythema.
says that it is redness of the skin or mucous membranes caused by hyperemia,
yeah.
increased blood flow, and superficial capillaries.
Usually, by the way, from irritation. And
Okay.
I'd
it's
like to know that I'm not crazy.
You're
so
not-
Thank you.
well,
You're not crazy.
well, wait, whoa.
Well, wait. Yes, okay.
The
I
jury's-
am crazy.
jury is
I want
still
to know
out on
I'm
that one.
wrong. No.
Yeah. Yeah. It's erythema. Erythema. The Y is kind of like an I. Erythema. And it is reddening of the skin, usually from irritation. Erythema. And thank you, Miss Petrie, because I don't think I ever would have come up with that.
And I would have forgotten.
Yeah.
Didn't even look it up.
Yeah. Okay. It's quite an interesting mind Miss Monreal has. There's all this stuff just rattling around in there. Pop it up. I like it. It's very cool.
That's the exact description. Thank you.
You have glands in your skin. Essentially, you have them for two main reasons. One are sweat glands and one are oil glands. Your sebaceous glands produce sebum, which is your body's natural oil. You'll often hear a lot of people that make massage lotions and oils say, oh, we use this particular jojoba oil because it most naturally mimics your body's natural sebum. And they're trying to sell you on it saying it's the most like your own oil, and so that would make sense to use it, which is a good argument. I don't know if it's true, but you'll just hear that. So sebaceous oil glands produce sebum, which is your oil for your body to lubricate your skin. Sudoriferous glands are your sweat glands. Sudoriferous glands are your sweat glands. You do have two different types. You'll hear people call eccrine and apocrine glands. Eccrine are the kind of cooling sweat glands. Apocrine are the ones that are like underneath your armpits and in your groin, actually, that create a kind of a smelly sweat, stinky sweat, whereas the other ones are just kind of water. Anyway, sebaceous are oil glands, sudoriferous are sweat glands. Yes? Miss Felix Osuna, what are your two main types of glands on your skin?
Is it the sebaceous?
Sebaceous, and what are those?
That's the oil.
Thank you. And what's the other gland on your skin?
Sudoriferous?
Well said. And what's that one produce?
Sweat.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Boom, boom, boom. That's a cute little picture. Okay. Miss Petrie, in simple terms, what do you suppose thermoregulation means? I haven't said this yet, but I think you can figure it out.
Regulating the temperature
Thank
of
you.
your body.
Perfect. Exactly. Thermoregulation means your ability to regulate the temperature of your body, to bring it up, bring it down, whatever. Thermoregulation. There are cases where this fails in people, and these are very common terms to know, right? Ms. Gianna's explained to us that hyper means above, more, extra, excessive. Hyperthermia is when you are too hot. Hypo means below. Hypothermia is when you are too cold. You will hear this with like athletes, actually, believe it or not. They'll be doing like an outdoor run and, you know, in some cold conditions. And what happens is their body runs out of energy from running or biking or whatever they're doing in cold conditions, and they get hypothermia because they now don't have the energy to continue the activity or to stay warm. And it can actually be very dangerous. You have to warm them back up again. Like they really, because if their core temperature drops too much, they die. That's hypothermia, too low. Hypo, please, out of any of what I've just said right now, remember that hypo is low and hyper is high because it comes up in a lot of other anatomy stuff, as you will see. So, Miss Monreal, what does the prefix hypo mean?
Hypo is too much? No, wait. Oh, hold on. I was just looking at the screen and I fainted. I get confused with these. Okay,
Oh, can I give you a way to remember them?
What?
Can I give you a way to remember them?
Yes, please.
Okay, I'm going to give you a way to remember hyper, because hyper is a really hard thing to remember. But I'm even kind of like extra, kind of more right now, and I'm kind of hyper right now. So hyper is always extra, and that's what hyper actually means, because hyper is when you're doing a lot more, and you got a lot of stuff to go.
Okay.
So when I'm really hyper like this, sometimes my doctor will take a needle, he'll take a hypodermic needle and put some kind of thing in me to calm me down. It's called hypodermic needle because it goes below my skin. Hypodermic needle. That's actually why it's called that. So hyper is hyper. Hypo is hypo
I know
low.
we're not in this section. This is the way I normally try to figure it out. But like hypothyroidism is too little.
Yes.
And then hyper is too much.
Right. So if I'm exaggerating here, but if I had hypothyroid, what would be one of the signs with my body weight?
like, wait, hypo, wait, this is why I say I get confused, hold on. So hypo would be slow, so you would maybe have excessive body weight?
Yeah, my metabolism would be slow and I'd probably gain weight very easy. If I had hyperthyroid, what would happen with my body weight?
You're very thin?
Yeah.
You can't keep weight on?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Those aren't always true, but that's...
I don't know why I get so confused with those two, because I have to like think and try to figure it out real quick. But
No, that was really good. So
I'll
what
look at
is hypothermia?
hypothermia, like you're too cold,
Yes. And what is
Okay.
hyperthermia?
you're too hot.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Boom. No, I'm not going to go over that. It's not that important. Let's see. So, we're still on the integumentary system, but we want to talk about the sensors that are found in your skin, which Miss Hunter very wisely pointed out is where the nervous system intersects with the integumentary system, because it's the nervous system whose nerve endings are in your skin. So in a way, we could be talking about both systems right now. But just to be really clear where we're at, just to make sure we don't get thrown off, Miss Nguyen, what is the integumentary system again?
Hair, nail, skin.
Thank you. So we're still talking about hair, nails, and skin. We're talking about the skin right now. And you've got nerve endings in these skin. And some of the ones that I want you to really remember, actually, hold on everybody. I'm sorry to do this to you. Let me back up here a second. Let me tell you something much more important to remember than what's on this slide in a way. You have lots of nerve ending sensors. Your body is highly specialized, and you would think that this wire at the end would be able to sense all this different stuff, but each nerve ending, and there's millions right at the tip of my finger, they only sense one thing. So they all have a switch on the end of them. That switch only senses one thing, maybe heat, maybe pressure, maybe pain, maybe rapid movement, maybe stretch, all sorts of stuff, and all those send signals back to your brain. Right? If those switches get fired, okay? So like I have sensors that only sense light touch, and my deep sensors right now are not getting fired off, so my brain knows I'm getting touched lightly. If I push really hard, believe it or not, the light touch ones don't go off. Other ones go off. If I heat up my finger, I've got other sensors to actually let me know it's getting hotter. And other sensors let me know it's getting cooler. It's not the same sensor. All of these sensors are called receptors. They receive information. The most important receptors for you guys to know about are proprioceptors. Proprioceptors. Proprioception means to see oneself. And these are the receptors that let you know how far your arms are bent, how much pressure is here, how fast you're moving. Proprioceptors. We're going to talk about more of the nervous system, but you will hear a lot in massage therapy about proprioception. Proprioception is how I know I'm standing this way. In fact, and sometimes when somebody has poor posture, we're trying to reset their proprioceptors so that they sense their body in a different way. You are using your proprioceptors right now to know that you are sitting on your butt or laying on the couch. Those are proprioceptors. They're actually telling you about pressure and how your arms are being held and all that stuff. You can close your eyes right now and you know exactly where you are. And that's because of proprioceptors. Now, you've got millions of, not millions, you've got 10 different types of receptors probably. Another one that you will hear a lot about is nociceptors, which are pain receptors, nociceptors. But proprioception is the big word to remember here, and it's not on the slide, and I apologize, we'll get to it when we get to the nervous system. Proprioceptors are a whole group of these nerve receptors that let me know that I'm doing this right now. They can actually sense movement, speed, how much I'm bending, all that stuff. They let you know where you are in space. Okay. Integumentary system.
Wait, what do you mean they let you know where you are in space?
Why did I not know that you would ask that in this moment?
I have to get what you're saying.
You're right. I appreciate that. probably not the best statement where you are in space. They're not a GPS locator. They don't let me know that I'm like this far north and this far west and that kind of stuff and at this altitude. But they let me know this, by the way. We take it for granted, Miss Monreal, but I got my eyes closed right now and I can tell you that my arm is at 90 degrees. Now that just seems obvious to us, right? You're like, of course you can tell. But the question is, why can I tell? And people will say, well, you can tell because you told it to move that far. But how did I know when I got here? With my eyes shut.
Okay.
The
But,
receptors
okay,
told
so you didn't mean, so I feel dumb.
No.
You didn't mean like if we were in space. So like,
Well,
that's why I'm like, wait, what do you mean if we're in space?
I'm sorry. I should have said they allow me to know my body positioning and what I'm bumping up against.
Okay.
But they do, by the way, they do help me with things like how far am I bending? How fast am I moving? What am I touching? What am I bumping into? The temperature in the room, the pressure on my feet. They do give me a sense of existing in space. That's what I meant.
Okay.
And they give me
I
pretty
got you.
accurate feedback. Yeah,
Okay. I was thinking outer space.
I know.
Okay, all right.
But if you were floating in outer space with nothing touching you, you would still be able, with your eyes closed, you'd still be able to know where your arms are and such.
Yeah.
And that's because of these proprioceptions. They give you the ability to see your body inside your head. They give you feedback what your body's actually doing mechanically. Yeah. So I really should say, I don't know. I got to figure out a different way to say it.
It's okay. I just didn't get it. But anyway.
No. I appreciate it. I assume when you're asking questions that other people are thinking it, and even if they're not, that they're like, oh, that kind of does clarify things. Yeah. It's very helpful to me as a teacher, I'll tell you that. Okay. So, we talked about certain pathologies. We talked about acne. And we said acne is just an infection of like hair follicles, little glands in your skin. And so it's a local contraindication is all, right? Local contraindication. Miss Hunter, what is a local contraindication? What does the word local mean? Local contraindication mean?
Local means that it's just that one area that you would want to avoid.
Thank you. Lots of stuff is local contraindication. Yeah. So like a cut with a Band-Aid on it is a local contraindication. A burn in one little area is a local contraindication. Acne is a local contraindication. Thank you, Miss Hunter. Cool. Miss Bellotti, can you tell us what athlete's foot is?
What athlete's foot is?
Yeah.
It's a fungus that gets in your little toesies, and that's why you wear flip-flops in the shower. I like my locker room.
It's a fun. I love toesies. Toesies was the best part. It's a fungus.
I have to say, she totally explained that like if we were 5. I loved it.
Yeah, it is a fungus that gets in your toesies, and that's why you wear flip-flops in the shower. That's actually kind of true, by the way. You really do pick it up quite often in locker rooms and things like that. Okay. All right, moving right along. Miss Cooper, what are boils?
What are what? What did you say?
Boils. It's on the slide.
Oh, sorry. I had no idea what you said. Boils? I thought I had the skeletal system.
Well, you do, but you also talked a lot about pathologies, right? And this is a pathology that you covered.
I'm confused, but okay, I remember boils. I know about boils. So boils they're like big, gross blisters on your skin.
Are they from a burn like a blister?
No. They are trying to think of how to say this. They're reminiscent of warts.
but they're not contagious.
How about a boil is probably more like a pimple because it comes when bacteria infects one of your hair follicles. So much more like acne. Does that make sense? Because it's an infected hair follicle. It's okay. You're so sweet. It's okay.
I'm sorry, I really messed up. I thought I was supposed to do the skeletal system, and now I'm upset.
Oh, don't be upset. I appreciate your honesty. Okay?
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
If that's the worst thing that happens today, it's going to be a great day. Yeah,
Okay.
cool. All right, but for everybody's edification, like boils are basically a pimple gone wild, right? You've seen those videos on TV at night. Pimples gone wild. There's a whole bunch of boils. Cool. Okay. Cool. What? Oh, you're okay. Bruises. Bruises are also called contusions, and bruises really are broken blood vessels underneath the skin, and they are a local contraindication. If you see a bruise on somebody's back, just a small one like that, like the size of a quarter, what should you do, Miss Harper, if you see a bruise on somebody's back and you're massaging them, Miss Harper?
I'm not gonna massage them.
You're not going to massage them at all?
No, I'm not gonna massage the one that will have bruises.
Oh, so that's a local contraindication.
Yeah, but I'm gonna massage the area, but not that one area, that area, because it might get bigger or something.
Yeah. No, you're right. You might do damage to it. You gave the textbook perfect answer. If you see a bruise, it's a local contraindication. You don't massage it. Is there anything else we should do when we see a bruise on somebody's back or back of their leg? Miss Harper.
What is the question again? I don't get it.
I know. I'm sorry. It's not very clear. If you're a massage therapist, it's really clear. But if you see a bruise on somebody's back, I know you're not going to rub it. Is there anything you're going to say if you see a bruise on somebody's back or back of their leg?
I don't know if it is correct, but I'm just gonna ask them if it is hurt or something.
Yes. And why are we asking them that?
Because sometimes when we accidentally, like rub them, it may feel discomfort or, yeah, because I don't know how to explain it.
That's okay. You're doing fine. I'm asking very vague questions. Let me ask Miss Petrie, because I suspect she knows where I'm going with this. Miss Petrie, why would we ask if the bruise hurts if we're not going to rub it anyway?
Well, we work around the area, but we always ask if they are aware of their bruise.
That's why we ask if it hurts.
And if that is bothering them in any way, because we don't want to be blamed for something that was already there for one.
Yes.
And also if it ends up being something other than just a bruise.
Yeah.
That
So,
they are aware of it.
Two really great answers. I didn't even think of the second one. But yes, everybody, when you find bruises on people's bodies in some innocuous way, that means some gentle way. I don't go, oh my God, you know you have a bruise on your back? I usually say, oh, is this bruise hurt at all? I don't actually care if it hurts. That sounds really cold. What I want to make sure is that they know they had a bruise when they came in. Because I can't tell you how many massage therapists will tell you the story where they massage somebody, they had a bruise there, they go home, their spouse sees the bruise on their back of their leg, whatever, and says, oh, and then the person assumes you gave it to them. So I always make a little comment like, oh, does this bruise hurt? They're like, oh, I didn't know I had a bruise. Oh, don't worry about it. Just let you know. And Miss Petrie added another really fine point too, which is maybe it's something else and they should be aware too. Were you raising your hand again, Miss Petrie?
I was. I wanted to add that it's also good to just make a note of it. That when you put in your notes, that you write down that they had a bruise.
Well,
so if they try to blame you, they can't.
Yeah. Good point. All good points.
That you were aware that they had a bruise in this particular area of their back or whatever.
Yeah. I would say any anomaly you see on the back side of somebody's body, or even the sides, where they don't see very easily, that you mention in a really gentle way so that they realize you didn't give it to them and they're aware of it. Let's suppose it's a bump or whatever. Yeah. And Miss Harper, I apologize. I was not very clear about that answer. You are 100% right. Miss Harper's 100% right, by the way. Bruises or local contraindications, don't rub them. Thank you. Thank you all. Burns. Burns are in general local contraindications, right? Unless somebody has burns over their whole body. First degree burns are minor and fourth degree burns are major, and second and third are on the way. Cold sores and fever blisters are local contraindications too. And Miss Felix Osuna.
Hi.
Hi, do you want to tell us about these ulcers?
Yes. The cubitus ulcers are bed sores, meaning it mainly occurs to people who are confined to a wheelchair or the bends as well. It is sustained pressure and it is local medication too.
Beautiful. So I'm just repeating what you said because I couldn't have said it better. Ms. Felix Osuna said decubitus ulcers are bed sores. They're bed sores, and they come from pressure on an area for too long, and it damages the skin. And you see it with generally people who are bedridden, paralyzed, wheelchairs, things like that in the areas where they're sitting. In fact, that's why they shift around. If they can't shift themselves around, somebody has to turn them every so often. Otherwise, they get these type of ulcers, and they're a local contraindication. Miss Hanson, what's eczema?
Eczema is inflammation of the skin. It's dry, itchy patches of skin that can be very itchy. Sometimes it can break open and bleed. I would not massage that area of the skin. If it's just bumpy, then I would ask if it hurts.
Yeah, you're right. If it's just mild and bumpy, you could put lots of oil on it. If they want you to rub it, you probably could. If there's any sign it's going to bleed or tear, you wouldn't. We don't touch blood, for one thing. And the real thing to know about eczema is most people are very embarrassed about it. So my response to all this stuff, because it's true and it makes people feel better. I don't tell people stuff that's not true to make them feel better. But if I can find something true to tell them, make them feel better, I do. And that's like, oh, it's no big deal. I see this all the time. Like, it's totally common. Because it is totally common. Totally common. Not a big deal. Don't worry about it. Because they feel like it's gross and things like that. Thank you, Miss Hanson. Local contraindication. A lot of local contraindications. Yes. Miss Harper, impetigo.
Impetigo, it is a highly contagious skin infection.
Yeah.
And it appears as a red sore on the face, mouth, hands, and sometimes the skin folds like the armpits. And it's also can spread skin to skin contact, direct contact like hugs or handshakes.
Yeah.
And it is an absolute contraindication.
Yeah. By the way, there's a little bit of debate about that. Some people say you can work on impetigo if you wash your hands afterwards and make sure you don't touch your face. But you'll probably never see impetigo in the massage room. But it is highly contagious, and if somebody came in and told you they had that, you'd be very justified to say, let's wait until that's cleared up before I work on you. Yeah, thank you. Really well done. Thank you. Miss Hunter, tell us about lice. It's always fun times.
Lice is always fun times. I would say that lice are tiny, wingless, parasites that suck the blood out your scalp, I guess. I think, and they're very contagious. And we would not work on someone with lice.
Yeah.
And it is probably why we won't work on children either. I'm joking. It's most common in children.
Yeah.
So that's why at school you can't share hats with your friends.
That's right. We by the way, I shouldn't tell you guys this, but a couple of years ago we had it in this school. and like it spreads like wildfire, right? Like it's amazing, and we're a bunch of adults here, but it's just, we've got hair going on here, we've got massage sheets everywhere, and the main reason you don't work on somebody with lice is not so much that you're worried about getting it. It's not like it's going to leap onto your hair with you just touching them. You're worried about it getting into your carpet and sheets and things like that and getting to other clients. Obviously, you're going to wash your sheets, but you're worried about it spreading through your studio. And that's why we tend to turn people away that have lice. And if you were massaging somebody's head and you notice that, you'd just very gently be like, oh, I'm sorry, I think you have lice, and I actually have to stop massaging you right now. And then after they left, you'd burn the studio. Rebuild it. No. But what you would do is you take everything right away and put it in really hot water with bleach. Wash it all. Wash everything down. Everything you could possibly take and remove. If there's carpeting around there, I'd vacuum it. All that kind of stuff. Well done. Thank you. Mr. Kandaris. Psoriasis.
Alright, I'm gonna enlighten you guys.
Thank you, sir.
Alright, I'm opening my notes. Okay. Psoriasis, basically the skin cells can multiply up to 10 times faster than normal.
Yeah.
And it is an immune system problem.
Yeah.
And it basically turns the skin into like this scaly, like clumps almost, like the skin just becomes, basically from the cells reacting like that, it just is producing more skin in that area. Yeah. And it makes this, like scale almost.
Yeah. Is it what kind of contraindication is it?
It's a local, so you just would avoid touching the spot.
Well done, sir. Thank you. It is a local contraindication. It's very interesting that a lot of diseases in the body aren't underproduction, they're also overproduction. This is an overproduction of skin cells, which means you push up all these cells really quick and you get a lot of dead skin cells on top and things like that. It would look like flaky, dry skin. Nothing to worry about. Miss Monreal. Oh, please. We're about to call on you anyway, but Miss Monreal, please.
Well, just because I do have the psoriasis, so I just want to just like reiterate that the contraindication isn't because it's contagious or anything like that. No, I know you know that. But I have massaged people with it, and so if there's no discomfort, there's no real, issue with it. But especially with my hair like this, I struggle with it so bad. So anybody who wants to see it, if you take a good look at my scalp, besides that's the only place I actually have it, you'll see it. Now, I actually have a lot of discomfort on my scalp, but like I said, for other people who actually have it, a lot of people have it on their elbows or arms or whatever. Like, there's not necessarily a discomfort to it.
Right.
Anyway, just wanted to share my experience.
I want you to share your experience because it's more valid than a textbook, actually. By the way, with everything, I almost hesitate saying this, but I think it's honestly true. Basically, if it feels okay to have it rubbed, it usually is okay to have it rubbed. If there's no blood and you're not tearing skin and something feels okay to have it rubbed, even bruises. I know technically you're not supposed to rub bruises. You're not supposed to. But we've all seen mild bruises before. And some people are like, I don't even feel that. And you're like, yeah, it's a week old. Of course you don't feel it. And really, in general, you got to use some common sense. Please don't say, well, Tapscott said no matter what. But in general, if it feels okay and it looks okay and the client feels it's okay, it's okay. Your body gives very accurate feedback, assuming they have sensation stuff. If somebody's paralyzed and can't feel their legs, you got to take all sorts of precautions because they can't feel what you're doing. But I'm saying with a normal person, if it feels okay, it's okay. Really is. Yeah. Miss Monreal, will you tell us about ringworm?
Yes, I will. Miss Hunter raised her hand.
Oh,
I don't know if it's in reference to what we just went over.
Miss Hunter, please.
Would we massage someone who's paralyzed?
Oh, would we?
Yeah, would we?
Yeah, sometimes it's actually really encouraged because that tissue is not getting a lot of movement. And so people that are paralyzed usually have somebody, usually their caregiver does do some type of, for one thing, limb movement. They move their limbs just in range of motion to keep them moving and keep blood from stagnating in their body, and then do gentle massage. So yes, that is not unheard of at all.
Oh, okay.
The thing is this, though, you have no feedback on pressure.
Right.
So you take it very easy. So all I'm thinking of is like, we're moving blood. We're moving blood. I'm not trying to work out muscle stuff. I'm not trying to do deep tissue. We're moving blood, because I don't want to cause any other problems because they can't tell me, ouch, that hurts.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
That makes sense because I was watching this movie. I'm forgetting the name right now over the weekend, and it had Kevin Hart in it, and he was basically the caregiver. The dude. I don't know if you've seen Breaking Bad, but it was the Breaking Bad guy, and I was wondering why they were doing range of motion with him because he was paralyzed from the neck down. So that makes sense.
Yeah, it's part of. I mean, I don't understand the full thing, but your body actually does not do well not moving. And so they're not trying to stretch you, but they're just trying to make sure that your joints keep moving the way they normally do. And that kind of opens up blood vessels and keeps things going. So they put you through range of motion and light massage. That's very common.
Okay, yeah, it's just funny that this got mentioned today because literally I watched it and I was like, why are they, I was just curious. There's probably a reason, but why are they doing range of motion with the guy who's paralyzed?
Everything connects,
So,
yeah. Cool. Thank you for sharing, sir. Ms. Montreal, back to ringworm.
Yes. So ringworm is a fungus. And you can get it from cats and dogs. And it is like a little circle type of rash on your skin. It is highly contagious. Yeah. Well, you know what? I don't know. The book said something a little bit different, and I disagreed.
Please.
Because it is contagious. I read up on it over the weekend, and I was going to ask you about that because it said something like, I don't know, I'm going to have to check it again. But I just remembered disagreeing, but maybe I read it wrong. Anyway, it is contagious.
It is contagious. So is it a local contraindication or an absolute contraindication, or that's what you're debating?
Absolute. No. Okay, so no, it's absolute, but this is what I'm thinking. It all just comes back to my brain. So it said, I'm going to have to check, but I just know that it said, to wash the sheets and, in hot water, which I'm like, well, I wouldn't even work on them.
Right.
I wouldn't. I would say absolute.
Yeah. I probably would say absolute too. I mean, I guess there could be some weird situation where they're like, I've got this one little case down on my foot or something, but I probably would say absolute too. I've never once seen it in my 25 years of massage, in the massage room.
I have.
Oh.
I have. I had the 6 kids.
Oh.
And yeah. And
I meant in the massage room though. So a lot of this stuff I've seen, but like lice, I've seen lice lots of places. I've worked in daycares. I've seen it in our school. I've never once seen it with a massage client. Ever.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
So
and people who tend to get massages are very clean and hygienic, and they're not rolling around with maybe a dirty animal or something.
And by the way, I want to be very clear though, and I know you didn't mean this, but just so everybody knows, in case you get lice, don't feel bad. Lice has nothing to do with being clean or dirty. In fact, strangely enough, lice likes clean hair and doesn't like dirty hair.
Yes.
But anyway, and I know you didn't mean that. I just want to be very clear. But yeah, most of your clients just don't come in when they got ringworm or impetigo. They don't come in. That's very unusual for somebody to be like, I am itchy all over and have these rings and stuff, and I'm going to go get a massage. So I've never seen it. Yes, Miss Petrie. I'm learning to see the hand raised.
Ringworm. I know that a lot of wrestlers get ringworm from the mat.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, certain athletes, I guess, would have it then.
That's right.
Yes.
Okay.
And by the way, I did have the 6 kids, and yes, lice was an issue, and yes, I was blessed enough to have gotten it from them a couple of times. It's absolutely very horrible. Not horrible. You know what I mean. It's annoying.
Yeah.
You have to wash everything and bag everything up and do all these treatments. And I had very long hair and I was not going to cut it off. So yes, I know that it's not necessarily a clean and dirty thing because I would hope to think that I'm clean.
Yeah. No, we do. No, there's certain
Makes
things.
you feel gross, though.
Yes.
It does make me feel gross.
Lice is the same way for people. It makes you feel like you're infested, right?
Yeah, it's not fun.
Yeah.
But yes, I would never go anywhere if I had lice. So I'm hoping that if somebody knew they had lice, they would not go to get a massage.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah. Sometimes they don't know though too, so that's true.
Right.
Miss Nguyen, what are scabies?
KB, you can in the look in the pupil in the between finger and you can look pupil in the underarm. Because it's anytime under skin, same as KB under skin, and easy to get in the someone in the get them, and skin have skin red, brown, and reddish,
Yes, there you go.
and and have egg with meatiness.
Yeah.
But you cannot measure because easy to in the get for people in the get in the KB.
Yeah. So scabies are a skin mite, a tiny parasite that actually burrows in the skin, and it is contagious from skin to skin contact. Believe it or not, the massage oil actually adds some protection, but scabies is, skin to skin contact. Hold on. Oh, go ahead, Miss Nguyen.
Yeah. But it's easy to in the look when you can find in the between the finger and in the armpit and around the around the white.
Around the what? I didn't catch the last part.
Yeah, and around the breast and around I think at the I so I done.
Okay. What you had a comment, Miss Petrie, or a question? Your hand's up still, and I'm getting good at reading the hands. Aha. Got it. Okay, cool. All right. Anyway, scabies
You
is.
finally read it.
I know. I'm learning.
I have a question.
I'm learning. I'm a slow learner, but I'm learning. Anyway, so scabies is skin to skin contact, and again, you probably wouldn't have somebody come to you with scabies. I never have, but it would be an absolute contraindication for that reason. Miss Giannis, what are scars?
So scars are just created when collagen is increased in a damaged area to repair it.
Yeah. You're 100% right, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot. How would you describe collagen to us, or could you? Maybe you can't, because I haven't really gone into it a lot.
I don't really know what it is.
Yeah. I don't. By the way, if it makes you feel any better, I mean, what a terrible teacher I am to ask you a question. I don't know what collagen is. Meaning I don't know the chemical makeup of it. But essentially, your fascia has three components to it. It has this jello-like ground substance. And in that ground substance, in this jello-like substance of your fascia, are these hair-like fibers. And there are two main hair-like fibers. One is elastin, and they're like little rubber bands in the fascia. They really are, and it's called elastin. It's elastic. And it lets your fascia stretch and come back, right? It lets my cheeks pop back after I do this to them. That's elastin. Collagen are these little hair-like fibers in your ground substance, in this jello. They give it strength. And I don't know what it's made out of, but I do know that pound for pound, the collagen fibers are stronger than steel. And so collagen is what keeps my cheeks up here. Collagen is what I lose as I get older and my cheeks start coming down to here, right? So collagen makes things stronger, and it's the fibers that make things stronger. So when you tear something or cut it really bad, your body is really smart. It thinks, maybe we need more steel here. And it puts more fibers in, and that's why scars look that way. But you'll never tear again at that scar site because the scar tends to be stronger than the original skin. That's the concept of scars. That's a good thing and a bad thing. It's a good thing because if somebody is constantly re-injuring themselves, scar tissue helps protect that area. It's a bad thing because you lose some movement usually in that area. Thank you, Ms. Giannis. I'm sorry for asking a question that I don't know the answer to. So, but collagen is the steel fibers, elastin is the rubber fibers in your fascia.
Mr. Tapscott.
Miss Monreal.
I'm sorry, I'm on my thing. Anyway, so then as far as like when people have, I'm going to turn this off, sorry. When people have surgery and they cut through the tissue, and there is the scar tissue as far as whether it's muscular or whatever, blah, blah, blah. There's less blood flowing through that area, right? Because it had to like get reinforced with all the collagen. Yes?
Yes.
Now, when we hear about people like breaking up scar tissue, what is happening?
Great. Really good stuff. So really quickly, before I talk about breaking up scar tissue, yes, when you cut into stuff, you cause scar tissue. And so it actually causes problems with some surgeries, like carpal tunnel. You guys remember carpal tunnel? Where they cut in here sometimes in the surgery? And they do it to open up the carpal tunnel. Well, scar tissue often forms in there and closes the carpal tunnel back up even worse. So like cutting into stuff is not a great idea for that reason. I'm not saying don't ever do surgery. I'm just saying that make sure that there's, you weigh the pluses and minuses. You create scar tissue. And sometimes the scar tissue from surgeries, and you will have clients like this. I guarantee you'll have clients like this. They'll say they went in to fix my shoulder and they fixed that problem, but now I've got problems with the scar tissue that was formed from the surgery. So that's very common. What are people talking about when they talk about breaking up scar tissue? You can work on scar tissue. You can work on scar tissue, and you can make it better depending on how old it is, how thick it is, all that kind of stuff. And it's the one area where we use something called cross-fiber friction. Normally, I'm trying to go with the fibers of my muscles. It feels better, it opens up the long strands, it makes more sense. Cross-fiber friction is I personally think should only be used on scars and nowhere else. It's annoying. And it is actually like it's strumming across stuff. Now, why would I want to do this with scar tissue? Because cross-fiber friction will re-irritate it, re-injure it. And actually, you're trying to break up the scar tissue by re-injuring it and realigning it. So you're actually cross-fiber frictioning it and rubbing it out again. Cross-fiber frictioning it, rubbing it out again to try to actually re-injure it and get it to realign and let the body regrow it in a new way and actually soften it up. So you really are breaking up scar tissue, and you really are actually, it's the reason it's one of the massages you have to be kind of careful with, because you're trying to damage the scar tissue on purpose so that it grows back nicer. And you really are breaking it up in that sense. It takes multiple treatments.
Typically, is that something that would be a tad bit uncomfortable?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
It wouldn't be excruciating, but it would be uncomfortable. Yes. It's annoying. Because it's kind of itchy and hot, and it's annoying, and you're trying to stimulate the area in a negative way in a way.
So if somebody was wanting this done, they're probably going to know that it's going to be uncomfortable, or you should let them know.
Oh yeah.
I'm assuming that if somebody wants scar tissue broken up, they're going to understand why, or they wouldn't be asking for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. Miss Petrie, can you just tell us what dermatitis is?
Seborrheic dermatitis. It is a superficial fungal disease of the skin.
Yeah.
It causes itchy rash and flaky scale. It causes redness on light skin and light patches on darker skin. It actually has several names, like dandruff, cradle cap, seborrhea, seborrheic eczema, and seborrheic psoriasis.
Mm-hmm. What kind of contraindication is it?
Local?
Yeah, local. Nothing to worry about at all. A lot of people just call it dermatitis. What does itis mean, by the way? The ending itis mean?
Oh, I forgot what that meant.
Well, that really inflames me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Inflammation.
Yeah, itis means inflammation. So it's inflammation of the dermis, inflammation of the skin. Yeah. And it's just a local contraindication. It's not contagious. It's fine.
But would it be a local indication, or is it something that you can actually just go over if it's not bothering the person, if it's not anything that's broken open or bloody or...
Yeah, textbook.
So so it's basically whatever you think is best.
Yeah. So here's the problem. Your textbooks are written to keep themselves from being sued.
Right.
And so my textbook answer to you, right? My textbook answer is do not rub dermatitis. But you're talking something super mild, and it doesn't seem to bother them or whatever, and you're not digging in on it, and there's oil between you and them. Yeah, I'm not worried about it. Yeah, so I'm with you. I feel you.
All right, cool.
Miss Stanley, tell us about shingles.
So shingles is a viral infection of the skin. It looks like patches of blisters, which it basically is. It can pop, and it's not fun. It's basically it's a reactivation of chickenpox.
Yes, thank you.
And it mostly occurs in adults over the age of 50% of the time anyways. And it's a local contraindication, but most people who have like the severe cases of shingles wouldn't come in anyways. It hurts to be touched.
Yeah, so it is highly contagious if you touch it, guys. It's questionable whether you were 100% right, Ms. Stanley. It is kind of a local or an absolute contraindication. It depends, right? I got shingles once when I was like a teenager, and it was literally a patch right here. That's it, the entire thing. That kind of person, local contraindication, I tell you about it, you leave my shoulder alone, we're fine, right? If somebody's got shingles over a majority of their body, it's an absolute contraindication. You'll probably never see them. They won't come in. It's highly painful and itchy and all that kind of stuff. And it is the chicken pox. Once you have the chicken pox, it lives in your nervous system forever. And when you get stressed out and run down, it likes to pop out again as shingles. So you can get shingles over and over again. And it is kind of stress related. So you might be helping people not get shingles just by giving them a massage. How lovely is that? Pretty lovely. Yeah. Yes, Miss Petrie.
I am a little bit concerned because my mom still has shingles. It's been over 2 months now.
Really?
Yeah. It's been about almost 2.5 months now. She just now is getting to the point where she's not taking any of the medicine that they gave her, where she's finally, like the painkiller stuff, where she's finally feeling like she can tolerate it. Wow. Yeah, so I'm a little concerned. I don't know what that means.
I don't
or
either.
To be lasting this long.
Yeah, what do I want to say? I think your concern is not unwarranted. I would be concerned too. That sounds very unusual to me. Although it does sound like it's finally improving, so that's good news. I'm not qualified to actually answer why. I've never heard of it lasting more than a week or so.
Right.
Usually it starts to get better after a week or so I don't know. But yeah, I can understand your concern.
Yeah. Yeah, so hopefully she keeps on being on the right track, because I'm concerned that it's going to be something
I hope she's
more severe than just shingles.
Well, the worry is that I don't mean to make you worry, but the worry is that the shingles is a sign of her immune system being run down, or her stressed all the time, or something else that's causing this thing to not let your body win the fight. And so I would look at other areas of her life. Is she taking care of herself? Is she keeping stress low? That kind of stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Stretch marks. Really quickly, I just want to comment because you'll see clients have them for all sorts of reasons. Usually rapid weight gain. That can be rapid weight gain due to pregnancy. It could be rapid weight gain due to French fries. It could be rapid weight gain due to steroid use and muscle growth. I don't mention stretch marks to clients when I see them. They look like They look like kind of like scars, then they look like stretched skin. They're totally massageable. There's nothing wrong with them. Massage, by the way, on somebody who is pregnant, gentle abdominal massage, not digging in, but rubbing the tummy can be helpful in preventing stretch marks because you're keeping the skin really supple and hopefully elastic so that it's less likely to stretch. But I don't mention them because people are usually embarrassed by them. Although, I mean, I feel like half the population has them. Ms. Torres, will you tell us about warts?
They are fleshy bumps on the skin.
Yeah.
And they are caused by the papillomavirus.
Yes.
They are really contagious. They're local. You could just avoid that area, and they are mainly like on their hands.
Yeah.
Some on their face, but mainly they're on their hands.
If you see them, avoid them. However, you probably all have massaged over warts and not seen them. Some people have really tiny ones sometimes. They don't even know they have them. You have to have a break in your skin for the virus to get into your skin. So they say they're highly contagious. I say they're mildly contagious. If you've got massage oil on and you're rubbing over them and you don't have a break in your skin and you wash your hands afterwards, very unlikely you're going to get them. But anyway, you'd avoid them. If you saw warts, you'd avoid them. You'd still do the massage. Totally. And that would be it. Yes. Well done. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, everybody. That finishes the integumentary system, right? Tegumentary system. Tegumentary system, which is composed of, what's your integumentary system, Mr. Kandaras?
I'm sorry?
What is the integumentary system, sir? Like, just what is it made of?
Hair, skin, and nail.
Thank you. And Miss Baladik, what does the integumentary system do for me?
Protects you from the outside world. It brings in vitamin D. It sweats and keeps you warm. Yeah.
Yeah. I loved all that. And your sensory stuff. What do you call that where you regulate the temperature? What do we call that?
I know there's a specific word for it.
Thermo. What happens when you regulate the temperature? Thermo. I feel like if I put thermo and regulate together, I'd almost get the word. Thermoregulation. Thank you. Thank you. I'd forgotten completely. Awesome. Well done, Miss Block. All right, everybody, let's take a 10-minute break. Let that system of the body soak into your head. Cool, cool, cool. Thank you. See you back. 10:53. Boom, boom, boom. Interact with. So, what is holding up that large organ of your body, the largest organ of your body? So it's not just a sac down around your ankles. Is your skeletal system, which gives structure to your body. And Miss Cooper is going to be very kind and give us an overview of the skeletal system. Please take it away, Miss Cooper.
Hello. The skeletal system is made up of bones, tendons, ligaments, and joints. It is the framework for the body. It keeps everything from falling apart. It supports, your bones support, well, it's also made up of, did I say bones? I hope I said bones.
You did.
Bones are like the but yeah, it's a framework for your body. Your bones store bone marrow that contain red blood cells that carry oxygen so you can stay alive. The white blood cells that fight off infection. Platelets to prevent clotting. They protect your organs. so that if you get hit by something or you get hurt, your bones get hurt first. So
a little bit of armor.
Like your heart, your lungs, or anything won't get damaged.
Yeah.
Or your ribs, or let me think, is there anything else? They're alive. They're made of cells, protein, fibers, and minerals. And oh, fun fact: the biggest joint in your body is your knee, and the smallest one's in your ear.
Yeah.
And I say joint because that has to do with bones, because
part of the skeletal system.
Yeah.
Excellent. Let me ask you a couple. Oh, sorry.
You're good.
Let me ask you a couple quick questions. What attaches bone? What attaches bone to bone?
Ligaments.
Yes, ligaments attach bone to bone. So bones, joints, and ligaments are part of your skeletal system. What attaches muscle to bone?
Tendons.
Tendons. And so tendons are part of your muscular system. Just clarifying something. That was good. Thank you very much, Ms. Cooper. Ms. Monreal, what makes up the skeletal system?
Okay. Ligaments, bones, and tendons.
What do tendons do?
Tendons attach muscle to bone.
So which system of the body are they actually part of?
Tendons? I mean, is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
So I guess they're part of the skeletal system?
I
don't know, that's what we're on, but don't look at me like that, wait. Oh boy.
Wait, I thought tendons attach muscle to bone.
I mean, that's what I would have thought, but why are you asking me that when we're going over the skeletal system? I'm like,
Why are you mentioning tendons when we're going over the skeletal system?
Wait. Okay. What did you... I'm sorry. Oh! Okay, wait. All right. I see where I went wrong. Okay, wait a minute. So bones, ligaments, there's a third thing. Bones, ligaments.
Joints.
Joints.
Yeah. Which is where two bones come together. Yeah. And cartilage, some people say, but that's whatever.
Okay, you can kick me out of class.
No. You and I are actually modeling literally the thinking process for the class when we do that kind of thing that we just did there. That's the only reason I do it. I'm not trying to make fun of you.
Okay.
And you're right. We normally include tendons with the muscular system because tendons attach muscle to bone. But bone to bone is ligaments. And got it. Okay, cool.
Okay, ask me something else.
Well, I will. I'll come back to you.
Okay.
All right.
I have a question though.
Yes, Ms. Hanson.
If tendons connect to bone and connect muscle to bone, why isn't it also part of the skeletal system?
There are so many ways to answer this question. But the real answer is because somebody said it so. Somebody said it's that way. Because there is no...
I think she's saying I was right. I think that's what she's saying.
Oh! Because, Ms. Hanson, there is no muscular system and there is no skeletal system. Somebody came along and said, oh, there's a whole bunch of these bones. Let's talk about the bones as a system. Why aren't the bones part of the cardiovascular system? They make all the blood for the cardiovascular system. But the fact is the body's so complicated they divided it up. You know what I mean? And there's lots of overlap, and you are 100% right. The tendons could be included in the skeletal system, but then you got to include the muscles because the tendons are attached to the muscles. And if you're going to include the muscles, then they all start to bleed back together. So you're right. It's an arbitrary division created by man. And I don't care which system you guys put it in, as long as you understand exactly what you just proved, Miss Hanson. Your question proved that you understood what tendons are, right? And you understand now the connection between you could actually argue tendons are the connection between the skeletal system and the muscular system, right? So well done, thank you. But yeah, they're arbitrary divisions. So just for clarification, just to make sure we're all on the same page still, Miss Nguyen, what makes up the skeletal system?
Ligament, bone and joint.
Thank you. Ligaments, bones, and joints, yeah. Okay, boom. There are some word things I would like you guys to remember because it'll come in handy. I've been saying this one a lot, itis. When you see itis at the end of something, thank you, Miss Petrie, she's like, yes. Itis, when you see itis at the end of something, it means inflammation. You're gonna see it all the time. Tendinitis, ligamentitis, bursitis, dermatitis, arthritis. Arthritis is inflammation of a joint because arthro means joint. Arthritis, yeah. Osteo is a good thing to remember. Remember the periosteum? Peri means around, means the fascia around a bone, the periosteum. So osteo meaning bone, itis meaning inflammation, arthro meaning joint are good things to know. Just good things to know for your anatomy because they will come up in other things. That's why I'm mentioning it here. Yes. So.
Mr. Tapcott.
Yes. Yes. Can you hear me?
So when there's fasciitis, how does the fascia, can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. How does fascia get inflamed when someone has like fasciitis?
Usually from
what does fascia being inflamed look like?
Usually, I don't know what it looks like, but it usually is overuse of the fascia. So you see like plantar fasciitis, which is inflammation of the fascia of the bottom of your foot, your plantar region. Plantar fasciitis, and it's usually from overuse. So the fascia has been stretched and stretched and stretched and stretched and eventually gets irritated. And your body, by the way, we believe the initial irritation, the inflammation, is a protective measure. Your body is flooding that area with fluid to increase blood flow and increase fluid flow there so that nutrients can go to that area and help repair it. It's also making the area highly sensitive to try to send you a signal to stop using it. It's meant to make the area puffy and hard to use and get more blood flow in there. That's what inflammation is supposed to do. But a lot of people think, well, I just need to run through this. And they keep going. And so it gets worse and worse and worse. But inflammation is actually originally a good thing. And so it's usually an overuse thing, Ms. Monreal. Cool. Awesome. Okay. So, Ms. Yanez, when I see
wait, I have a question.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Ms. Torres.
So you get arthritis because you use your hands too much? Or
no.
When you get arthritis in your hands?
Not usually, sorry.
Isn't that an immune?
Yes. Arthritis is usually an overactive immune system attacking the connective tissue in your joints. Itis just means inflammation. Plantar fasciitis is usually an overuse injury of the plantar fascia of your feet. Arthritis is inflammation, but it's not from overuse at all. In fact, some use of the joints really helps. It is usually the immune system attacking the joints. Itis just means inflammation. It can come from different things. But you're absolutely right. Arthritis is usually your body attacking its own joints. Miss Yanez, when I see itis at the end of something, what does that tell me?
Inflammation.
Yeah. What's tendinitis?
Inflammation of a tendon.
Yes. What's ligamentitis?
Inflammation of a ligament.
Yeah, what's dermatitis?
Inflammation of the skin.
Yeah. What's, or dermis? By the way, I'm not trying to really even make you think. I'm just trying to point out to everybody that every time I say, what's giraffe-itis, it's inflammation of the giraffe, right? Cool. Do you know what bursitis is?
Inflammation of the bursa sac. Is that what it is?
That is it. Wow. It's inflammation of the bursitis sacs, which are these tiny little lubricating sacs that are usually in your joints. So you'll often see ligamentitis, tendonitis, and bursitis are all kind of mixed together. And sometimes they're not even sure which one is there, but they'll throw that stuff out. Really well done. Cool. Thank you. Miss Stanley, what does osteo mean?
It means bone.
Thank you. Miss Felix Osuna, what's arthro mean?
I'm not sure.
What does the slide say it means? Arth.
Heart. It's the joint.
Thank you. Cool, cool, cool. All right, everybody. The skeletal system, its main job, by the way, is support of your body and movement, right? Yep. It mixes with another system of your body to create movement. When you put the skeletal system along with another system of your body, you get movement. What is that other system of your body, Miss Hanson, that you can put the skeletal system with to get movement? Muscular system. The skeletal system are the levers of your body. I can't emphasize this enough for when we get to kinesiology. The skeletal system is the levers of your body. The muscular system is the thing that pulls on those levers of your body. Super duper important. The other beautiful, beautiful thing that your skeletal system does is hematopoiesis. Hematopoiesis is blood production, right? And we use blood production in another system of our body. What system would that be, Miss Cooper, that the skeletal system makes blood for what system of our body, Miss Cooper? Miss Cooper.
Sorry, I sneezed. Repeat it.
The skeletal system performs hematopoiesis, which is blood production, for what system of my body? What system of my body uses blood? I mean, every system of my body uses blood. But what system of my body pumps blood around?
Circulatory system.
Circulatory system. Awesome. Thank you very much.
Your circulatory system.
Yep. Thank you. Circulatory system. Perfect. I just want to show you guys that these overlap, right? Because the systems were just made up by somebody to help understand the body. Cool. It's true there's fat storage and mineral storage, but what I really care about is that your skeletal system is the levers of your body that the muscular system pulls on to create movement. That's what we study as massage therapists. We care about movement all day long, or lack of movement all day long. We're there to try to create ease of movement, right? Okay. And you don't have your hand raised, right, Miss Petrie? I mean, you do have your hand raised, but that's an old raise. Cool. It's okay. I'm learning now, so I keep my eyes out for it now. Yeah. I didn't mention it to Miss Monreal because she always has a question, so I'm just let her leave her hand up there all the time. Oh.
Oops, sorry.
I'm just teasing you. We talked about 3 different types of bone cells: osteoblasts, osteoclasts, and osteocysts. Cysts just mean cell. So one is bone cells, right? Osteocysts are just mature bone cells. But the clasts, osteoclast, break down bone, which is a good thing, and osteoblasts build it back up. Your bones, but the real point of all this was your bones are dynamic. They are always breaking down and rebuilding depending on what you need. And they're making themselves thicker or thinner in areas depending on what you use and need. When you don't use them at all, they tend to get just weaker in general. Your bones need stress on them, and they tend to interact with a particular stress that you give them and become stronger in that way. They adjust to your lifestyle. Your lifestyle. It's quite impressive. Yes. Miss Hunter, what do osteoclasts do?
They are those the ones that break down, like you just said.
Yes, ma'am.
They conform to whatever lifestyle you choose or whatever. So if you're a bodybuilder, it destroys them and builds them back up, or do they build them back? No, that's the osteoblast. Okay.
Thank you. Bam. Beautifully. Well done. Yes. The osteoclasts kind of tear them down so they can get remodeled. It's not like they're tearing them down just to tear them down. And then the osteoblasts come back in there and build them back up. Blast starts with a B, build starts with a B. Osteobuilds, osteoblasts. Cool. Well done. Thank you, ma'am. Cool. We talked about different types of bone. I'm not really going to worry about that with you guys. We talked about the shaft of the bone a little bit, the diaphysis. I'm more interested in the periosteum. Can anybody tell me what the periosteum is? Real simply put.
I can.
Yes.
It is the fascia around the bone.
Thank you. That's exactly the answer I wanted. Yes. I realize that your book says it is the dense fibrous sheath around the diaphysis. Yes, that's true. But it's the fascia around your bone. It's the fascia that the tendon and ligaments weave into. Tendon and ligaments are fascia too, and they weave in to the periosteum to attach either bone to bone or muscle to bone, depending on which one we're talking about. That's it. Cool. We're not going to get into this right now. We do need to talk about this, though. We have an appendicular skeletal system, which is my appendages, legs and arms. Appendicular skeletal system and axial skeletal system, the axis around which these things attach. So my skull, spine, and rib cage are which skeletal system, Miss Harper? Miss Harper, which skeletal system is my skull, spine, and rib cage considered?
Axial.
Axial. You're exactly right. Thank you, Miss Harper. And my legs and arms, Miss Harper, are considered to be my
Appendicular.
appendicular. My appendages. Appendicular. Yep. And that's just important massage therapists because we talk a lot about that. And by the way, if you think about it, we work a lot on where the appendicular skeletal system meets the axial skeletal system. Shoulders and hips. Because that's where a lot of weight transfers take place, shoulders and hips. Of course, we work on the axial skeletal system, the spine, but we work a lot on shoulders and hips, where the appendicular skeletal system meets the axial skeletal system, shoulders and hips. That's why it's important. That's where a lot of weight transfer takes place. Yeah? Yeah. You will hear about different types of joints, fibrous, cartilaginous, and synovial. Fibrous are like in your skull. They hardly move. Cartilaginous are in your spine. They only move a little bit, but you got 24 of them. And synovial are the ones that we deal with and massage all day long. All my knuckles, my wrist, my elbows, my shoulders, almost all the joints in your body are synovial joints. These are highly movable joints. They have a sac around them that's made out of fascia also. It's filled with synovial fluid, and that's what allows for all that movement inside there. And the synovial fluid is kind of like oil. Remember this? Yes? Yes. All right. Maybe I saw some interesting facial expressions there. Miss Stanley, what is the joint that basically doesn't move at all and just kind of sews stuff together like in my skull?
The fibrous joint.
Fibrous joint. Thank you very much. What are the joints between my vertebrae called that move just a little bit, but there's a whole lot of them?
Cartilaginous.
Beautiful. Cartilaginous. And what are my main joints that I'm used to as a massage therapist that have a sac around them and fluid inside them and everything?
Synovial.
Thank you so much. Beautiful. Here is a picture of a synovial joint. You can see the sac around it, and what it's doing is preventing the bones from hitting is part of its job, actually, and to keep this area lubricated. You do have articular cartilage, this really hard cartilage over the ends of bones too, so that when they hit each other, they've got some stuff to pad them there. But the pressure inside the joint also helps keep them from impacting one another too. Believe it or not, the pressure inside the synovial sac actually helps prevent them from rubbing on each other. Beautifully done. Ms. Yanez very wisely told us about bursitis. This is the picture of your glenohumeral joint. Glenohumeral joint. Mr. Kandaris, in simple terms, like that we would all use, what is the glenohumeral joint? What joint? Where is that joint in my body?
It is where the humerus and acromion process meet.
All right, I'll take that. That was even more complex. It's your shoulder joint, but you're 100% right. That was even better. Thank you. So it is where your glenoid fossa and your humerus meet. It's your shoulder joint right here. It's the ball and socket here, right? This is a beautiful picture of a bursitis sac, which is kind of like a synovial sac that's around a joint, but it doesn't have a joint there. It's just sitting there. And what it's doing is lubricating this tendon that goes over the top of it. The deltoid tendon that's going over the top there. And you can get bursitis. That sac can get rubbed too much. By the way, in this picture, this muscle on top is the deltoid. Can anybody tell me what this muscle is running underneath the acromion process, underneath the bursitis sac there, and attaching to the head, the lateral head of the humerus here? Can anybody tell me what that muscle is? Anybody?
Are you talking about the deltoid?
No, deltoid's on top. Deltoid's on top, and you're absolutely right. What's the muscle running underneath?
The supra?
What was that again, Ms. Torres?
Is it the supraspinatus?
It is the supraspinatus all day long. Thank you. It was brilliant. Great use of anatomy. Because it's running on top of the scapula underneath the acromion process and grabbing on the lateral side of the head of the humerus. And it works, by the way, along with the deltoid to bring your arm out like that.
So yeah.
Yeah, you are, actually. You can take credit for that. That was great. That is your supraspinatus. Can we see how your supraspinatus might rub the bursitis sac here and you could get problems underneath your acromion process? Can we see how if that got inflamed, it might be hard for you to bring your shoulder out like this? That is a very common problem. In fact, go into the doctor tomorrow and just lie to him and say, my shoulder's kind of hurting. I'm having a hard time lifting out like this. And he'll be like, I guarantee he won't even look at it. He'll say, go home and take some ibuprofen for a while. You probably just have bursitis or tendonitis. He won't even look at it because usually it kind of clears itself up and it's not even worth their time to even go in there and look. And he'll just be like, it's bursitis or ligamentitis. He'll say it like he knows which one it is, but he doesn't know. He'll just tell you that and send you on your way. And then if you come back 3 months later and you say it's still bothering me, he'll be like, oh, okay, well, maybe you need an MRI or maybe you need stronger anti-inflammatories or whatever. But it's that common. Okay.
Mr. Tapscott?
Yeah.
So the bursitis are like little sack-filled beanbag type things, right?
Yeah.
Somewhat. Okay, but like the labrum is more of like a sheet of something, correct? Like that gives it extra padding so that it can move. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But they both kind of just try to protect it and allow it to move better. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. The labrum really... I'm trying to think how to explain this. The labrum actually, it does help it move better. It's not a sac. You're absolutely right. So the bursitis things really are sacs. They're like bean bags full of fluid or like water balloons smushed out or whatever. And they're slippery and they're full of slippery fluid inside. The labrum, labia actually means lip. And the labrum is actually a lip around the glenoid fossa to give it a little bit. Remember how I said it's not really a ball and socket? Like, this guy is definitely a ball. We can all see that. This is hardly a socket. And what the labrum does is it builds up a little lip around the outside of this to give you a little bit more of a socket. And that's why you'll hear people get like a labrum tear, because it busts out of that socket and tears through the labrum a little bit. So yeah, it does help it move, but it actually makes more of a lip around the thing to make more of a socket. Yes?
Okay, so is it a ligament? Does that attach those together, or is it a cushion? I guess is what I'm trying to understand.
That attaches what to what?
I don't know, the lip thing,
The labrum is actually attached to the bone here.
Okay.
It's actually like a little wall built up that's attached to the outer rim of the bone.
So I guess I'm just trying to find out the purpose. So is the purpose of it to attach to the bone?
The purpose of it is to make this thing higher, to put a lip around it to make it higher to give you more of a socket.
Okay.
The lip comes up. So, like if I put a lip around here, I've now got more for the bone to fit into.
Okay.
So it's building up the outer edge of the socket.
So when somebody has a tear, is that something that they go in and repair, or it's like you just let it heal? I don't know.
Well, if it's not causing you problems, you don't do anything about it. Sometimes your body will repair small tears, or they'll build up a little bit of scar tissue there. If it's really causing you lots of problems, what they usually do, and again, I'm not a surgeon, but what I have heard they usually do, is they go in and clean it up. So they go in and do microsurgery. They make a tiny incision. You're in and out. They make a tiny incision. They go in there with this little camera and this little thing, and they actually cut it free and clean it up and suck it out. That part of the labrum, they just take it out. And they assume that scar tissue will go back and build up that lip a little bit. And they'll have you do rehabilitative therapy to build up the muscles around that area, because you have a group of 4 muscles in that area that help also give integrity to the shoulder joint. What's that, Ms. Monreal, what's that group of 4 muscles that helps kind of?
The sits muscles?
The sits muscles. So what's the technical term for them, though?
Rotator cuff.
Yeah. Right? Hey, what are the rotator cuff muscles? What are their names?
Infraspinatus, and when you say infraspinatus, you say teres minor.
Yes.
Subscapularis.
Yep.
The one that Miss Torres just said.
Yeah.
Why am I not remembering? It's the fossa. What is it?
Well, you have infraspinatus. So that's under the spine. What's supra? Supraspinatus. Cool.
So was that 3 that I just said?
No, you said them all. You said infraspinatus, teres minor, subscapularis, supraspinatus.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
All right.
There you go.
Guys, I'm not going to worry about types of joints, but the fact is, just remember, like, my elbow is a hinge joint, which means it can only go this way. You don't actually see my elbow go this way. That's my arm bringing it over. My elbow actually can only do this, just like a door can only do this. That's why it's called a hinge joint. This is a ball and socket, which is why it can do all sorts of funky stuff, right? But that's my shoulder joint. Just the point is, different joints allow different movements. Oh, that's right. This is everybody's. I see people shaking their heads because this is still a challenge, and probably, honestly, the most important thing that you should get out of the entire class is to be able to describe body movements. Can't do kinesiology without this. So I can tell that Ms. Petrie is really excited about this part. So, Ms. Petrie, what am I doing with my fingers right now?
Flexing.
Yeah. What am I doing with my middle finger right now?
Extending.
So, sorry. I'm going to lose my job. Okay. Miss Petrie, thank you. Miss Petrie, what am I doing with my neck right now?
Flexing.
Yeah, flexions normally are closing to the angle in front of me. What am I doing right now?
You say normally.
Yeah,
that's
normally.
Not always the case. So.
No, not with the knee.
Right.
Okay, but that was good. That was good. Yeah. One last question, Miss Petrie. What am I doing now? Or not? Same thing.
Lateral. that a lateral?
Am I closing the angle?
Yeah, so that'd be a lateral flexion.
Yes! Now say it like you,
Really?
yeah, say it
Okay.
like you mean it so it sticks in your head. What am I doing right now?
A lateral flexion.
Thank you. Flexion,
Okay.
lateral flexion, extension. Awesome. Cool, cool, cool. Thank you. Miss Hanson. I don't know if you can see me. I want to be somewhere you can see me. Sorry, Miss Hanson. Can you see my leg down here? All right, Miss Hanson, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to see this. Oh, wow, this is not going to be easy for you. Okay, Miss Hanson, what's my knee doing now?
It's extending.
Thank you. What's it doing now?
Flexing.
What's my hip doing now?
Flexing.
What's it doing now?
Extending.
Wow, that was great. Thank you. That's 100% right. Good. I need to stretch more. Okay. Miss Cooper. What's my shoulder doing now, Miss Cooper?
Oh, extension.
Whew. Thank you, Miss Cooper. What's my shoulder doing now? What's my shoulder doing now, Miss Cooper?
Would it still be extension?
Yeah, this is extension. I thought you said flexion this way.
No, I said extension.
It's happening in front of my body. Flexion. Extension. Flexion. Extension. All right, Miss Cooper. What am I doing now?
Flexion.
Yes. What am I doing now?
Extension.
Yes. What am I doing now?
Flexion.
Yes. What am I doing now?
Extension.
Yes. What am I doing now?
Flexion.
What am I doing now?
Extension.
Thank you.
You look so silly.
I am silly. Okay. Miss Stanley. Miss Stanley, what am I doing now?
You are abducting.
Yes. What am I doing now?
Adducting.
Adducting. What am I doing now?
You are abducting.
Yes. What am I doing now?
Adducting.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, we call those from the midline of the hand. That's very good, though. Cool, cool, cool. Thank you. Aha! Mr. Kandaris. What am I doing now, sir?
Medial, you're moving towards the midline.
I am moving towards the midline. That's excellent.
Which would be adduction.
Yes. Very, 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 very good, sir. What type of adduction? If I'm moving through the horizontal plane.
Horizontal, yeah.
Horizontal adduction. Cool. And what is this, sir?
Horizontal abduction.
Thank you so much, sir. That was really well done. Really well explained, too. Miss Bilotic. What am I doing right here?
Horizontal adduction.
Thank you. What am I doing here?
Horizontal abduction.
Yeah. Good job. Cool. Thank you. I love it. Oh, yeah, this is a fun one. A lot of animals cannot do this. What, Miss Harper, what am I doing right here?
Well, what is that? Adduction?
I mean, I see where you're coming from, but look in the slide, too. There'll be a clue.
Opposition?
Yeah, opposition. The ability to move across. Your pinky and your thumb can do opposition. They're the only two things that can in our body. And it's one of the things that makes us pretty special as mammals, because some mammals can actually only bring their thumb in like this, can only adduct it. And so when they pick something up, they literally have to do this. They can't do this. They can't grab it between their fingers and thumb. This allows us to use tools and stuff. Very good. Opposition. Yes, thank you. Miss Felix Osuna, what am I doing here?
Opposition.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you. This one's hard, so let's give it to Miss Hunter. Miss Hunter, either because I believe in you deeply or because I like driving you crazy, I don't know. I believe in you deeply, actually. But my wrists are going to do something right now. I don't know if you can see them. I hope you can.
Yes,
and I'm putting myself in anatomical position to make life easier on you. What am I doing right now with my wrists?
Okay. So hold on, because I can't have you on both screen. Is that ulnar deviation?
Well, actually, I mean, I guess you could. Yeah, it is. Well, sorry. This is well, it's going toward my radius. This is radial deviation, actually.
Oh, radial deviation.
But what also from the common terms we use, what do we call this when my hand moves away from my body?
Abduction.
Thank you. And what's this?
Adduction.
Yeah. What's tricky, by the way, everybody, is most people stand like this.
Right.
And guess what? Miss Hunter, what is this?
Adduction? Is it supination?
No, it's abduction, because we're supposed to put the person in
that's right.
anatomical position so it flips it. So yes, they're moving towards my body, but I'm supposed to be standing like this. In that case, they'd be moving out. I'm sorry, I was just trying to make a point. You did great. You did great. Oh, Miss Hunter, one more. Miss Hunter, what's this?
Circumference something.
Yeah.
Hold on. Circumduction, yes.
Thank you. Circumduction. Moving through multiple planes. Doing flexions, extensions, all sorts of stuff at once. Yeah. Cool. I love that. Miss Nguyen.
Yeah.
What's this?
Rotation.
Rotation, yeah. I like that, rotation. That's how it's spelled, you're right. Rotation. Cool.
Rotation.
What's this?
Rotation.
Yeah, it is rotation, cool. Awesome. By the way, everybody, if my arm rolls in, that's rotation too, right? Rolls out, that's rotation too, right? Miss Giannis, if my arms roll in at the shoulder here, what's that called?
Rotation?
Yes, but what type?
If they roll medial rotation?
Medial rotation. Thank you, ma'am. What if they roll out?
Lateral
Yep.
rotation?
Thank you. Perfect. Miss Hunter, you correctly call medial and lateral rotation something else. Can you also tell us that? So if I roll in, it's medial rotation. What else do you call that?
Supination?
No, but you've also called it. You've also called it something else. You call this internal rotation, don't you?
Oh, ulnar.
That's something else. I'm saying internal. I thought you used to call this internal rotation, which is correct, and this is external rotation.
Yes, I do call it that. Yes.
Yeah. Sorry. So medial rotation or internal rotation, lateral rotation or external rotation. Sorry, I don't mean to throw you off there. Hey, Miss Hunter, since I've got you,
yep.
What is this called? Because you keep trying to say it.
That one is my favorite. Supination.
Yes, as though I was holding a cup of soup. What's this called?
Is that pronation?
Yes, as though I was prone to dump it out. Supination, pronation.
Sorry, anything that has to do with the hand, that's what I think about.
Yeah, by the way, here's what's really confusing, everybody. If I show you something here, right, and the arm's moving, you have to ask, where is it moving at? This is me medially and laterally rotating. This is me supinating and pronating down here, right? So you have to ask what's moving. It gets kind of confusing because sometimes stuff's just coming along for a ride. Yeah. Well Done. Supination, pronation. Love it. Okay. We already talked about that. Oh. Hey, who do I have next? Miss Petrie. What do I call it when I stand on my tippy toes? My foot goes down. It is in the slide, by the way. You are muted, by the way, if you are speaking.
So it would be a dorsiflexion then, because they move an ankle, so the foot moves superiorly.
Yeah, I don't like their explanation. Just say, if I plant my foot on the ground really hard, I'll go up on my tippy toes. So it's a plantar flexion. If I lift my foot up...
The heel, okay, so if you plant the heel on the ground, it's dorsi. If you have your toes, it's plantar. Got it.
Yeah, here's how I remember it, everybody. I don't know if this helps.
Sorry.
Don't be sorry. No, we still can't see my foot, can we? Here. That's it. Try to
I feel like you might need a GoPro.
There, I do. All right, so this is my foot. By the way, this is my foot medially rotating, but it's not my foot, it's my hip. Laterally rotating. But anyway, if I lift my foot up to stop a door, isn't this how you'd stop a door? Boom. That's dorsiflexion. If I plant it so hard that I come up on my toes because I'm pushing so hard, that's plantar flexion. Plantar flexion, dorsiflexion. Plantar flexion, dorsiflexion. Cool? Stopping a door, planting so hard that my foot comes up on my toes. I hope that helps. Yeah? Cool. Oh, more foot stuff. Let's see here. Boom. Miss Felix Osuna. If my foot, here, let me get down here. If my foot bends in like this, what do we call that?
Inversion?
Yes. If it bends out like that, what do we call that?
Inversion.
Eversion for out.
Inversion.
Eversion, inversion. So if your soles are kind of pointing in towards each other, that's inversion. This is eversion. Now, obviously nobody comes to you like this, but people do. If you guys look at the soles of your shoes, and you've been wearing these shoes for a while, you will see if you are a gentle everter or inverter. If the outside of your soles are really worn, it means you're walking on the outside of your feet and you're slightly inverted. And later this matters for structural anatomy when we're kind of trying to analyze a body, which we will do. Yeah, cool? Okay. Miss Hanson. Miss Hanson, what am I doing right now?
Yes. I cannot see you.
Oh! Why can you not see me?
I don't know.
Can anybody else see me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see you.
Oh, now I can. I just have to pin you to the screen.
Okay. Sorry. What am I doing right now?
Elevation.
Yeah, what am I doing right now?
Depression.
What am I doing right now?
Depression? Oh, that would be depression. Elevation.
Thank you. Elevation, depression. Awesome. Good job. Actually, I might be able to do this. Miss Hanson, what am I doing right now?
Hold on. Is that elevation? Pronating?
Pro is right, but not pronating. This is pronating.
Protraction?
Yes, protraction. We normally talk about it with the scapula, but it can also be your jaws protracted. And retraction, it's coming back. Retraction, protraction. Good. Cool, cool, cool. Miss Monreal? Miss Monreal, I am retracting my scapula. What's another way to describe that? Miss Monreal. Can't hear you. You're unmuted, but I can't hear you.
I can hear you.
Good.
Well, I cut out for a minute. I can hear you now.
I'm retracting my scapula. What's another word for retraction of the scapula?
Hold on.
When I do it, what?
I don't. Okay,
When I do it, by the way, my scapula get really close to my spine. They get really close to the midline, as Mr. Kondaris would say. Oh yeah, adduction of the scapula. When I protract.
Okay, I'm gonna. Okay.
When I protract, what else? What's another word for that? When I protract my scapula, what's another word for that?
Abduction?
Abduction, yep, they get further away from midline, yeah. And what were you going to say, ma'am? Can I?
Oh no, just I get so confused with these, but I'm glad I did okay.
Yeah, it is confusing, but think about it. This is the back of the skeleton. If the skeleton protracts and brings its shoulders forward, the scapula gets further away from the midline, and that's an abduction. If it retracts, it pulls back its shoulders and the scapula come in, and it's an adduction of the scapula. I hope that helps. Do-do-do-do. Oh, actually, this is a pretty good picture. Oh, shoot. Pretty good picture of retraction and protraction. What happens to the scapulas? Because they move. Yeah? Cool. All right. We've got to finish. Oh, excursion is side-to-side movements. We're not going to worry about that. We got to finish. You guys are going to, I need really quick explanations of these things coming up here right now. So, Ms. Bolotic, what is adhesive capsulitis?
It is also called frozen shoulder.
Yep.
Where there's inflammation in the shoulder joint capsule, where it becomes stiff. I would call it a local contradiction.
That was I'm sorry, I didn't mean to shake my head. That was 100% perfect. I was trying to stop you. That's perfect. Adhesive capsulitis is frozen shoulder. It doesn't necessarily mean it's frozen, but there's usually inflammation there and the shoulder doesn't move very well. And it would be a local contraindication, although, by the way, a lot of times you can work on frozen shoulder to open it back up again. So it might not be a contraindication at all. But that was really well done. Frozen shoulder. Miss Cooper, what is Baker cyst? No, we can't hear you. There we go. Now we can hear you.
Sorry. All right. A Baker cyst happens when you have a fluid-filled sac behind your knee, and it creates a really painful, bulge sac that makes it really hard to move.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's not much you can do about it in massage, and yeah. Cool.
You don't want to touch it.
No. So local contraindication, Miss Felix Osuna, what's bursitis?
It is inflammation in the bursae sacs and the joints.
Beautiful. Yep. And Miss Giannis told us this earlier, and she told us just by knowing that itis meant inflammation and bursae was bursae sacs. So beautiful. Both of you, excellent job. Miss Hanson, what's a dislocation or a subluxation? You're muted, by the way, Miss Hanson, sorry.
A dislocation is an injury with the bone where the joint is.
Yeah.
And so it's not in a normal position.
Thank you.
And subluxation is where it's frozen, right? So it's not able to move.
Yeah, but they're both really the same thing. Dislocation and subluxations mean they're out of alignment in some regard, right?
Okay.
Yeah. And by the way, you're probably textbook right, but people use them almost interchangeably. They'll be like, oh, you're subluxated in your spine or dislocated in your spine. It just means dislocations usually are more severe. Subluxations mean mildly out, dislocations usually all the way out, but still joints are off kilter. People are subluxated in their back all the time, and we don't. That's not even a local contraindication. We keep rubbing them. In fact, we're trying to loosen them up so they pop back into alignment. Good. Miss Harper, what are fractures and sprains? Just real simple words. What are fractures and sprains?
Yes, the fracture is a break or a crack in the bone. It's also called a broke bone.
Right.
While the sprain, it is the tearing of ligaments.
Thank you. Which would you rather have, in general, a fracture or a sprain?
For me, I think sprain. This fracture, you cannot massage it.
Well, it's true. That's a good point, yes. Which repairs faster, fractures or sprains?
The sprain than the fracture.
No, actually, fractures sometimes repair faster because there's more blood going to them. Ligaments repair really slowly. Ligaments repair really slowly. That's not always true, by the way. I was trying to make a point about ligaments, trying to be a teacher, and it was not the greatest point. But sprains are different than strains. Sprains are with ligaments, strains are with muscles and tendons. What's a ganglion cyst, Miss Hunter?
It is a non-cancerous lump that usually is on the tendons, like in the wrist or ankles in elderly women.
Yeah, yep. It's nothing to worry about at all from our point of view. Mr. Kandaris, what's gout?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Gout is a form of arthritis caused by too much uric acid in the bloodstream, and it usually affects the big toe. And it is just a local contraindication, so just don't touch their feet.
Yeah, and they'll tell you. You'll tell you because it'll be painful for them. Miss Monreal, what is kyphosis, lordosis, and scoliosis?
Kyphosis is an exaggerated outward curvature of the spine. Lordosis is, it's the inward curvature of the spine, but I did say exaggerated on the other one, but I guess it's just the curve. And
yeah.
Scoliosis is a side curvature of the spine.
Yeah, it's lateral curvature of the spine, right? Kyphosis and lordosis are your natural curves, but most people mean hyper kyphosis or hyperlordosis when they use it, and most people just use it and they say, oh, you've got some kyphosis there. They really mean hyperkyphosis, this bending of the spine, that bent over back. Lordosis is the real sweep in really far in, lordosis, yeah. And scoliosis is where it's supposed to be going straight, and it's going side to side. Well done, thank you. Miss Nguyen, what's Lyme's disease?
Lyme disease is the recurrent form of the skin, head, and nervous system because it's thickened by pain in the joint and muscle.
Yeah.
So you can see people tired and fever and headache when you look that.
And it really is transmitted by ticks. Lyme's disease is transmitted by ticks, so it's not person to person. It really is transmitted by ticks. In and of itself, if they're feeling okay, it's absolutely fine to work on somebody. And you probably wouldn't know. What is osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis, Miss Petrie? Just simply put. Don't go into a big long thing.
So osteoarthritis is a joint disease.
Thank you.
Rheumatoid arthritis is autoimmune arthritis. Osteo is the cartilage within a joint begins to break down and the underlying bones begin to change. Mainly in like the hands, hips, and knees.
You're beautifully done.
Rheumatoid is the cause when an immune system, the body's defense system, is not working properly.
Yeah.
It causes pain and swelling in the wrists and small joints of the hands and feet.
Got it. So both of these affect the joints. Both of these are joint problems that cause pain. They're both kind of inflammation of the joints, but one, rheumatoid arthritis, is because the autoimmune system, your own immune system, is attacking it. The other one is a breakdown, osteoarthritis, in that cartilage and such in your bones. But both are painful and both are inflammation of those joints. Both, by the way, if it didn't hurt them, you could work them. but most people it's hurting them. So some people it actually really helps to work them gently. So don't feel like you can't. You'll get somebody with their hands like this. They're like, no, it feels good when you work them. You really will get this. And it does. And then their hands get more movement and they actually like it. So if it feels good to them, they're not in a flare up, it feels good to them, you can do it. Goes back to Tapscott's saying that in general, if it feels good, you can do it. Miss Stanley, what's osteoporosis? Sorry, osteoporosis.
Osteoporosis is the most common bone disease there is. It is a loss of normal bone density, and it says it's a local contraindication, but you have to use light pressure if you do massage this person. Most of them probably won't even want a massage though.
Yeah. Osteoporosis is the idea that people's bones are actually getting weak, and I would still massage them, but remember that I wouldn't be kneeling on their back or something, right? Because their bones are technically weaker. They can break easier.
And they're like really brittle?
Yeah, they're brittle, right? They lose flex and stuff in their bones. So you'd be more careful. But most people with osteoporosis are also much older, and you would kind of treat them more gently anyway because they'd look like you should treat them more gently. So don't be too worried about that. Just use some common sense. Ms. Torres, what is patellofemoral pain syndrome? What is your patellofemoral area? Like, what are you even talking about there? And what's the pain syndrome?
So it is the most common knee, pain on the knee. In the knee. And it is a condition that happens when the cartilage under the kneecap is damaged from injury or overuse.
Yeah. Basically, the kneecap is kind of rubbing against the femur, right? And that's why it's called patella, your kneecap, femoral. And there's some inflammation inside there because it's getting worn down, and or whatever. There could be a lot of causes. But yeah, and it's very, very common. Hey, what kind of bone is your patella, Miss Torres? It's wrapped in like fascia and ligaments and stuff, and it's not really directly attached.
Or you said bone, not joint.
Yeah, it is a synovial joint. You're 100% correct. It's a synovial joint. Do you remember? But it starts with an S also. Do you remember what the bone is called? The kneecap bone? What type of bone it is? Ses? No,
I don't know.
It's a sesamoid bone, everybody. It's a sesamoid bone. Yeah, they're wrapped in fascia and stuff. You've actually got 10 in your body. We will talk about the other 8 down the road, but you've got 10. But your kneecaps are the biggest ones. Ms. Yanes, what's spondylitis?
Spondylitis is osteoarthritis of the spine, and it's where the intervertebral disc shrink and become dehydrated.
Yeah, and so you get problems in between the spine, and it can often hit the nerve plexus coming out the side and cause pain. You can still work on somebody with spondylitis. You might not stretch them as much and bend their spine around because that might hurt them. And if it hurt them, you wouldn't do it. If it doesn't hurt them, it's fine. It really is. In spine problems, by the way, everybody, what we're most concerned about is referred pain. If you move their spine around and they get shooting pain down their body, that's probably making the nerve more irritated. If it's just pain in their back where the muscles are being stretched, that's probably a good thing. Because it's just opening that area up. But when it's starting to refer down the body more by what you're doing, that can be a sign that you need to stop doing what you're doing. I'm supposed to tell you all about temporal mandibular joint syndrome. Your temporal bone and your mandible bone, temporal bone, we haven't learned about this yet, but we will, temporal bone and mandible bone, your jaw, meet here, right here, to form the temporal mandibular joint. And you can feel it from inside your ear. If you stick your fingers in your ears and move your hands around, you can actually feel it moving. And sometimes we go inside somebody's ear to help loosen it up, with their permission. So a lot of people will say I have TMJ, and what they're saying is I have temporal mandibular joint. Well, you all have temporal mandibular joint, or you wouldn't be able to talk. They mean they have TMJ syndrome or TMJ disorder. And that is the description of symptoms that they're getting. They're not actually sure why it's caused. We know it's inflammation in here. We think it's stress related for sure. And this area, it's a very complicated joint here. And massage is very good for it. So in massage, we try to loosen up all these muscles, but we also loosen up neck and shoulder muscles with temporal mandibular joint syndrome because it seems tied to neck and shoulder tension. So we kind of work them from the shoulders up. And we will do some facial stuff when we get to the face on temporal mandibular joint disorder or TMJ disorder. Cool? All right. That concludes the skeletal system. I really, by the way, felt like you guys were all engaged, paying attention. I really appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You have one homework assignment that's not related to what we talked about today. And we're not even going to talk about it. It's to prepare you for a lab with Mr. Ibarra tomorrow. Tomorrow, Mr. Ibarra is going to be doing some chair massage with you guys because it's good for you to know how to do chair massage. You might do it, just period, do it. There are people who go around to offices. I used to work for a place called Stress Busters, and we go to corporate offices and we do massage on people there like all week long, and the companies would pay for it and stuff like that. I don't know if they're still around or whatever. But anyway, so you're going to do chair massage tomorrow. So we want you to do the matching for chapter 15 in your massage therapy book, which is on chair massage, on seated massage. Matching for chapter 15. That's your only homework. That's it. Matching chapter 15. And that's just to prepare you for chair massage tomorrow with Mr. Ibarra. I'm not even going to talk about it in class. So that is it. Any questions? Comments? No? Miss Hunter, in one sentence, what is the integumentary system?
It is hair, skin, and nail.
Thank you. Miss Stanley, in one sentence, what is the skeletal system?
Bones, joints, and ligaments.
Thank you. Perfectly done. Miss Hanson, what fascia attaches bone to bone?
Ligaments.
Thank you. Miss Petrie, what fascia attaches muscle to bone?
Tendons.
Thank you. Miss Cooper, the marrow inside bones can produce what? Can make what?
Blood cells.
Blood cells, red and white blood cells. Red for oxygen to your body and white for defense mechanisms. Yes. Miss Nguyen, did you have a question?
No.
Okay.
I'm good.
I just saw you unmute, that's all. Miss Nguyen, though, since you did unmute, let me ask you a question really quick. Miss Nguyen, what is your skeletal system? What's it made out of?
Please add again.
What?
Please repeat again.
Oh, your skeletal system. What is your skeletal system? What makes up your skeletal system?
Bone, ligament, and joint.
That was beautiful. Bones, ligaments, and joints. Awesome, 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 awesome. Okay, everybody. Your only homework tonight is the matching for chapter 15 in your massage therapy book. That's due tomorrow morning. And I think that's it. We will do more systems tomorrow. You'll all come in for lab today. I am going to today check up on your externships and make sure they're very clear about the parameters. Some people have told me that Massage Envy is convinced you're there 5 days and you're only there 4 days. But I'm going to clarify all that kind of stuff. And Ms. Petrie, have you heard from Elements yet?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Does anybody else?
Miss Hunter.
No.
No?
No.
No.
Okay.
No.
So I'll follow up with Elements too. Okay. Cool. And everybody.
So is it gonna be the 4 days? Then it's gonna. I thought you said there were 3 days.
4 days. Monday, next week, all next week, Monday through Thursday, essentially your regular day, right? 9 to 3:30, you'll be at Elements or Massage Envy. Monday through Thursday, 1 week only. You won't come to class. You won't come to lecture. You will have a tiny assignment each night that's like, what did you learn that day? And you'll tell us one thing.
The rate that came by, it came so quick.
I know.
Already? Wow.
I know. And this, by the way, December starts tomorrow, and December's going to fly by. Yeah. Right? We essentially have 2.5 weeks together. 3 weeks max. And then you guys go on a 3-week hiatus. So it's part of the reason we're doing this review right now is because your brains, you're just gonna, like, you're gonna have 3 weeks to forget about everything. Yeah. Okay, everybody. Good job today. Thank you.
Bye, sir.
Bye. We'll see you at lab.